Here we go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, got to thank everybody for joining us today. Tom's Watch Bar downtown would love to see you. The reason being, we got the Pacers now. That's later on tonight against the Clippers. And the Clippers have made some nearing the NBA trade deadline this year deals. We'll go over those coming up in just a minute. However, not until later on tonight. 10:30 tip time, 10 o'clock your coverage begins right here on The Fan. And again, this is a great place to take in absolutely everything. And I will share with you why you would want to spend, for example, your big game Sunday here downtown, 140 Illinois, downtown Indianapolis at Tom's Watch Bar for a variety of reasons. Big game and otherwise, if you're looking for a place that has you covered all the way around, every TV, every game, great food, great drinks specials. It is here. And a shout out for the Mick Ultra that was waiting on me right here as well because I need it. Carl's the on-site engineer. Kev and Ethan are here. James back at the studio. And I did want to get you updated. Pacers, where it was expected they weren't going to do anything, have not done anything as of right now, or at least nothing that is late breaking coming in. I mentioned the Clippers traded off Kevin Porter Jr. a little bit earlier. These are all reports courtesy of ESPN and Shams. The Pistons acquired Dennis Schroeder, who's been bouncing around everywhere in the past 3 or so days from the Utah Jazz. Actually, the Pistons, as you'll find out, they have done some work in the past 48 hours to try to get better. Meantime, the Hawks traded former Hoosier, former Mr. Basketball Cody Zeller to Houston. That happened a little bit earlier. That was for a second-round selection. And you've got a lot of stuff going on. The Pacers, this is the latest. All right. According to Shams, as of just now, the Pacers are trading James Wiseman in cash to the Raptors. James Wiseman and cash. Now, this is all coming in, again, late breaking, and I'm going to try to stay as fully on top of it as I possibly can. So this, just as I was talking, clicked here. I have not seen it actually click from the Twitter handle as of yet of Shams. Is this actually real, Eddie Garrison? Make sure, James, you're following me on this because I don't want to blank this up. The Pacers trading James Wiseman in cash to the Raptors, and we knew that they had to free up or wanted to free up a little bit of cash, so that is not unexpected. The Kings are acquiring Jake LaRavia, the former Lawrence Central standout. Played a couple of years over in Terre Haute at Indiana State. Finished up at Wake Forest. Was a late first-round selection. Sacramento is acquiring Jake LaRavia, who plays off the bench, or has at least, from the Memphis Grizzlies. That also is a late-breaking deal. The Clippers, the team the Pacers play later on tonight, they're trading Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to the Hawks for Bogdan Bogdanovic. That happened within the last 30 or so minutes. The Hawks, and you saw the Cavaliers do some work leading up to the trade deadline. They are shipping DeAndre Hunter, a lot of people think should get some consideration for Sixth Man of the Year, to the Cleveland Cavaliers. In return, the Hawks get Karis LeVert, George Niang, and 3 second-round selections. Those all happened within the past hour for you right there. So, yeah, you know what? James, go ahead as we're into it right here. Get Sidery on here to make sure we're up to date on this. Actually, as we get into it in this first segment, I want to make sure I don't miss anything on it. So get Sidery on here. I'm going to talk about the Pacers. Again, there's no player involved, at least reportedly right now, in this deal with the Raptors. It is all about trading James Wiseman, who is obviously injured, not playing, to the Raptors for cash was the absolute latest right there from Shams. And that LaRavia thing was a little bit new as well. So those are the latest. We'll get Evan Sidery on here to make sure we're not missing out on anything right now, too. Also, Tony East had this. In return, the Pacers, besides the cash, a conditional second-round selection, according to Tony East, along attached with the cash where James Wiseman is being shipped to the Toronto Raptors. But again, nobody that is ready to play, obviously, right now. I think there were some rumors out there. I don't know how much you would buy into some of these. I don't even know if they're worth conversation. I think there was one that was mentioned via Kobe White within the last hour. And none of this, I don't know if you really truly want to buy into. So we shall keep you updated. So those are all coming prior to the trade deadline, fast and furiously. And Evan Sidery is going to join us in a second. We'll get caught up on all that coming up, too. Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers TV, bottom of the hour from L.A. The first of two in Los Angeles with the Clippers later on tonight, as I mentioned. In case you missed this, the Lakers and the Pacers on Saturday has been flexed now to an ESPN game because that is expected to be the debut of Luka. So that's coming up on Saturday. Tonight, 10:30 tip time, and 10 o'clock your coverage begins here on the Fan. So JJ, bottom of the hour, Pacers TV. I mentioned a little bit earlier this week, our good friend Tucker Barnhart, as pitchers and catchers are reporting, currently on his way out to Arizona to train with the Texas Rangers. Tucker's going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour. We shall discuss that coming up as well. 4:30, the voice of the greatest spectacle in racing, Mark Jaynes. Now, and I know we're, 109 days away from the Indy 500. So there's really nothing that is in focus right now other than Mark has invited me and some others over to Monrovia High School tomorrow morning to be a part of his broadcasting class. And I was going back and forth on social media with Mark and Coach Nick of Monrovia High School, and it appears that I have now helped put together a little morning pickup basketball at 5:30 tomorrow morning over Monrovia High School. But I did want Mark to be able to give this and his kids and his class, and obviously as we get looking forward to the start of the IndyCar season as well. But give that a little bit of love. Mark Jaynes is going to join us coming up a little bit later on today. That's at 4:30. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. We're going to find out later on if Adam Vinatieri or Reggie Wayne are going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That, again, is information we find out a little bit later on today. My expectation is this. I was talking to Hammer and Nigel before I came on down here at Tom's Watch Bar, and the expectation is that Vinatieri probably, I think, Reggie Wayne, hopefully, but I don't think there's any doubt. If you're going to put a kicker of any sort in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you absolutely start with Adam Vinatieri, right? So that's my expectation. We'll discuss that because obviously Mike is somebody that puts presentations together for those that he has covered, and Mike's going to join us. Not only about that, but regarding the Super Bowl, I mentioned with the big game coming up on Sunday, the Tom's Watch Bar has a lot of stuff going on as well. But we'll get down to business coming up with Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. That is coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. So let me take a deep breath and get you again right with everything that is going on right here. It looks like the Pacers, as of the trade deadline, have made one move, and that is to free up some cash in trading James Wiseman. This, again, was a move that I think people thought would take place. Getting also, according to Tony East in this, a conditional second-round selection, but no player that is ready to go. However, the teams in and around the Pacers have done some work. I mentioned the Cavaliers and DeAndre Hunter. That happened a little bit earlier today. Obviously, the Pistons have been doing some work also a little bit earlier today, and really going back to yesterday as well. The Bucks doing some work, really revamping. And this is something I talked about yesterday with Milwaukee in mind. This is a big question to me as to why, and I guess maybe you don't believe in Middleton any longer, but as I felt with Chris Middleton, as we witnessed a year ago with all the injuries that the Bucks had, I thought in a postseason situation, that's when you really want his shot-making veteran ability around. But they chose to go the Kyle Kuzma route, and that's where it is going in. But a lot of teams doing a lot of work around the Pacers, and as of right now, the Pacers are just kind of hanging out, freeing up some cash, and prepping for the Clippers coming up later on tonight. Hey, speaking of the Pacers, Chad Buchanan is going to join us on the show coming up tomorrow. I guess we won't have a lot to recap, but we will have a lot to talk about in terms of the not-so-distant future and the longer term regarding the Pacers. Chad Buchanan is going to join us on the show coming up tomorrow. All right, I also mentioned this in the video tease I sent out on X and Facebook a little bit earlier. There are rumors that are floating around regarding Mike Woodson down at IU, and of course, all these rumors are fueled because of the lack of success, the level of disappointment, and then the fact that Dusty May is on the inbound with Michigan coming up on Saturday afternoon. Now, I will tell you this. I know some of these rumors and speculation are suggesting that there is an announcement on the horizon. I'm not going to give a lot of love to those particular rumors that are out there because I have not heard that it's going to happen before the end of the season. But if you've listened to this show, you know that I have talked about, the simple fact that ultimately that's how that's going to take place. Let's face it, however you feel about Mike Woodson right now, Mike Woodson still is a basketball legacy of high-level / legendary proportions as a player. He just is. Now, I know, and you see this often with guys that come back and that don't have a level of success, they lose a little bit of luster, and certainly the luster is off in terms of how you feel about, I'm sure, Mike Woodson right now. However, you are still not going to at all embarrass him. And you could suggest, what he deserves or whatever, but they're not going to embarrass him. They're going to do this with tact, as tactfully as possible. I just have not heard that this is going to happen at any point before the end of the season. After the season, retirement, moving on. As I mentioned yesterday, I happen to think that Chris Beard is going to end up being the guy, the Ole Miss head coach. Some would suggest I'm inaccurate because of the baggage that comes along. I just think that is the route they're going to end up taking. That is more thought than anything, but from what I've been told, there will be a retirement announcement, but it's going to be at the end of the year. Like, it would absolutely floor me if it happened at any point before the end of the year. And I think what these rumors go to show you is that is a legitimate point of what they're trying to execute at the end of the year is indeed floating around. And believe me, down there, no information is going to be safe. I mean, you got too many ears and too many people that really enjoy being on social media that want to pump it up. And also, the other factor is it's just logical. If you've been around here as long as a lot of us have, you know how they're going to want to handle it. And I do realize that there's a younger generation of fan out there, or maybe even an older generation of fan, that are pissed off about the situation, and they don't want to see this thing handled delicately. But again, and I've told you this for the past couple of weeks, from what I gather from folks, it is going to be handled incredibly delicately. So we'll see. We shall see. But there's a reason why those rumors of this happening quickly are floating around, because it's ultimately going to happen. I just haven't heard to where it's going to happen anytime soon. Others have, but that is not anything that I have heard. And again, I've been talking about this situation and how they were ultimately going to handle it for a while. In fact, you go back earlier this week, before the Wisconsin game, I had said it doesn't matter at this point if they beat Wisconsin by 20, and do something they hadn't done since 1998. I mean, this thing is way too far down the road. There has to be a different path. And I think it's logical that this thing floats around right now, considering where this team is, considering just the overall feeling regarding the program. And then obviously you have somebody that's a graduate, former assistant, former, manager in Dusty May in Michigan coming to town. But IU wants to handle this. They really do. And we'll see, the reaction of Mike Woodson, if he has any whatsoever. But IU wants to handle this, or at least wanted to, from what I was told, as tactfully as possible. But again, that's not breaking news. You knew there was no way in the world this thing was going to be sustainable after this year, regardless, really. Because it hasn't not only made any moves, but it has significantly backpedaled. And there's too much money involved in NIL and too much going down and too much disappointment for this to be anywhere near sustainable. And then when somebody brings up Chris Beard, well, Chris Beard, in a world of athletics that, for the most part, is a hired gun, that is the ultimate hired gun right there. I don't know how else to put it. Some people might get offended by it. Who cares? But he is a hired gun. He is going to, or he would, go into a program. Ole Miss, you think this dude's going to hang around with Ole Miss if he doesn't have to? You think he actually dropped in that nugget regarding Bob Knight after that win over Kentucky without thinking about why he was dropping that in? Nah. He is, if you like Bruce Pearl for the gig, that guy is like the ultimate hired gun. But Chris Beard is right there too. And again, regardless of the circumstances, and some will say, you know what, there's no way in the world you can do it. There's too much baggage. Others would suggest, all right, there's nothing came of that, whatever. Lose your job at Texas. Now you're at Ole Miss. That you're far enough away to where you can restart it with a program like IU. It just seems like to me that you have both circumstances, in this case, exactly where you want them to be. And IU is going to want somebody to come in and not just revitalize it for the long term, but renew enthusiasm. And I hate this word because it drives me nuts, but culture, enthusiasm, and just get away from the apathy. It's one thing to hate on them losing. It's another thing to not even know when they play and not care. And there's a lot of things that they would like to rebuild, but again, everybody in the world these days wants instant gratification. And that, in these terms, is what you're going to get here. So, we shall see, but I wanted to address the Woodson retirement rumors for you right there. All right, the latest as far as the trade deadline is concerned. I know we're going to bring JJ on. Hey, James, jump on here a minute. Is Sidery going to be able to join us, or is he later on now?
It's probably going to have to be later on if you still want him to come on towards the end of the show.
And am I missing anything? The last thing I saw regarding the Pacers was the only thing I saw regarding the Pacers. James Wiseman
and Cash. I have not seen anything else besides those two.
It's, according to Shams right there, Tony East had also the inclusion of the conditional second rounder. He had that in a X message a little bit earlier. All right, so I think we're up to date. We'll get more up to date. We can lean on Evan a little bit later on in the show. I just wanted to prepare you because JJ is not going to be able to discuss very much. However, I think it's important to understand there is not going to be a great deal to discuss with the Pacers considering what we know right now with the NBA trade deadline conversation. A lot of teams doing some work. A lot of teams around the Pacers within their own division. Cleveland, Milwaukee, Detroit, all doing some things. As of right now, yeah, the Pacers freeing up some cash and getting a conditional second rounder. That is the only thing. All right, we'll discuss that. JJ's in Southern California, bottom of the hour. We'll get you set for the Pacers and the Clippers coming up later on tonight. Got you covered on that. Yeah, I know. We've got lots of stuff to do today, James. I have seen that, and we shall do it. Tom's Watch Bar. I'll see JR, and look at Joe Childers in the house over there, too. Joe Childers from Express Pro Tire and Auto has done such an incredible job of nursing along the tundra for me right here. But I think even Joe and I realize that we may be nearing the end, my brother. We may, and I want to give a shout out to Mike Alcorn, who works down on the south side of US 31 and Stop 11. Mike of Express Pro Tire and Auto on that location actually came out to my house on Sunday to look at it. We've been trying to get to 500,000 miles. That's significant. I'm thinking that I'm going to be lucky to get that bad boy right now to 400K. But, man, has it been a nice ride. And I'm telling you, Express Pro Tire and Auto this time of year with all that is going on with the winter weather and the effects it has on your car, truck, or van, that is the place to go. And much like with Joe and much like with Mike and Anthony and all the others, that is a spectacular group. So check them out today. I believe our guy Matt, we got a little AAA action coming here today too, James. So maybe some stuff to give away with Matt Goins and company here live at Tom's Watch Bar as well. I know I have Love Fest tickets for you. That's not too far away. Love Fest is a show that if you like Mike Wells coming on here every Friday and doing the 90s Slow Jam re-entry, you're going to love that. Little 80s and 90s mixture. I shall explain your chance to win those tickets for Love Fest coming up. That is a little bit later on as well. JJ, bottom of the hour. Tucker Barnhart, who is going on his, complimentary oil changes, huh, Joe? We shall. I will. Thank you, my brother. Sit tight right there, Joe. I'll talk to you in just a second. I mentioned Tucker Barnhart, top of the hour. We've got Mark James going to join us. Mike Chappell and Evan Sider. It's a busy day, Tom's Watch Bar. We would love to see you down here. So join us downtown, 140 Illinois, Tom's Watch Bar. The stream, the app, it's HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
He does not suck at all.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
James Wiseman for cash is all I've seen so far at the NBA trade deadline regarding the Pacers, and I think Tony East added in a second-round conditional selection. Chad Buchanan is going to join me tomorrow. We'll go over either the news or the lack of news and what has been a flurry of deals in the NBA. Prior to the NBA trade deadline on this Thursday, you find us downtown, 140 North Illinois. We're at Tom's Watch Bar. I would love to see you. I've got Joe Childers of Express Pro Tire and Auto. In fact, I have complimentary oil changes to hand out if you guys want them. My man J.R. Means is in the house. The reason why I bring that up, J.R. is a part of the Premier Weight Loss Program, too, and he is down 48. So shout out to J.R. I went up there today. I am down 72. And I reside at 185, and my target is 172. So, I don't know, maybe by end of March, May, we'll be at 172, and then we'll see how it feels down there. I also wanted to give a shout-out to Mark Janes, who joins us coming up at 4:30. Mark Janes, the voice of IndyCar and the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indy 500, has a broadcasting course over at Monrovia High School. I am going. Greg Rakestraw is going tomorrow. I think Dave First is going to go over there to be a part of his class. But he was kind enough, along with varsity coach Nick over at Monrovia, to put together a morning run for me. So I'm going to get up at about 4 in the morning. I'm going to roll over to Monrovia, and from 5:30 until 7:30, play a little morning pickup hoop, which is right up my alley right there. So thank you very much, Mark, Coach Nick, and Monrovia High School on the McCracken Court for allowing me to play on that bad boy, honestly, for the first time since 1987-88. I think it was January of 88, and I had a really good game against Neil Watson and the hook, Doug Cook, back in the day. So the first time over in Monrovia coming up tomorrow morning. I do want to thank them for that because I am always looking for a nice run like that, even at the age of 55, and putting that together is nice of them. Thank you. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I don't know how deeply he can get involved in it, but we can talk about the Pacers with Game 3 of a 4-game Western road swing tonight. New spot, a little first-time action in, I think it's called the Intuit Dome, for our friends from Pacer TV, including JJ, who joins us now. Have you been over to the new facility yet?
John, I just got back from the Intuit Dome, so I do have a little perspective before the game tonight. Looks like quite the atmosphere, some unique circumstances and surroundings. It doesn't look just like every other NBA arena, so I definitely think it'll be a good experience, and I'm looking forward to it tonight. By the way, 175? I mean, this is you used to go three-point line to three-point line. Now do you go in-line to in-line when you're playing?
I'm running the floor like a crazy man right now. Wow. You know, I have the energy. Have you ever seen you've seen Scarface, right? The film Scarface?
I've not.
From the 80s?
No.
Well, there's a notable scene when Tony Montana buries his face in a big pile of cocaine on his desk at the end. That's the type of energy I have right now, JJ.
Oh.
And I don't want this feeling to ever go away. So, yeah, we're going to hang with it until the body just breaks down, and I'm feeling really good right now. So I'm going anywhere and everywhere to play hoop, which will lead to an injury, but I'll take it when that happens. What's that?
You steal the inbounds pass then? I mean, if you're going full court to, inline to inline.
Yeah.
You gotta try that.
I'm good straight line. I still can't. Lateral movement can be a bit of a slow-footed struggle for me, but inline to inline, I can get there a little bit. And see, I still come in a package in which people say, well, put the guy that can't guard a chair on him, and then by the time they realize that was the wrong move, I bury their ass. So that's what happens.
That's impressive. I need to get out there and play a game with you sometime soon.
Oh, man, there's no doubt about that. All right. Is there anything you could talk about as far as trade deadline stuff? I'm assuming not, right?
Well, I've not seen the reported deal come official yet, but I wouldn't really dispute anything you said on the intro. And it's after 3 o'clock, so that's all there is to it. And I think the fans, the players that the fans have been watching, they'll continue to get to watch. And I don't know, me personally, if you ask me over the last month what I'd preferred, I want to see this team finish this season out. Who knows what will happen in the offseason, but what they've done since the start of December, they've earned the right to see what can happen. And they have shown when they are healthy, I think in a 7-game series or a best-of-7 series, I look forward to seeing how they can stack up because of the health and because of the way that they play that inline-to-inline style and because of the experience, really, that they gained last season. And the way they're defending right now, I didn't see a big need to shake things up. And so if the reports that are out there are accurate and nothing really happens, I'm good with it, and I think the fans should be too.
Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers TV tonight. That's a 10:30 tip, 10 o'clock. Your coverage begins. They got you there, then have you again coming up against the Lakers. We'll get to that on Saturday, which is turned into a mammoth deal, no doubt about that. I can ask you this, and you can offer up opinions. Others around them within their own division have done some different things, whether it's the Cavaliers at the top or the Bucks that would be above them. Obviously the Pistons have done some new things. Does anything stand out as far as those teams and what they have done prior to the trade deadline to try to make things better for them?
It's interesting. I've yet to really fully evaluate all of the moves. I think the Bucks, based on some of the things I saw from people that follow them, they had some salary cap issues to try to work through. And it felt like that was a theme for a lot of the teams, is just making sure you're below certain apron lines or salary cap lines while also altering rotations a little bit. I guess I'm most intrigued of the Central Division of Milwaukee and trading out Chris Middleton and seeing, how that new look with Kuzma, that's the biggest one to me that, stands out from a contender, because it didn't really seem like the Knicks did anything, and the Bucks, I'd be right now Knicks, Bucks, Pacers in that mix for 4 or 5 in a first-round series. So those are the teams I'm watching the most, and specifically when Middleton's healthy, he's tough, and I would say he's better than Kyle Kuzma, but maybe dependability is a little bit of a concern. And so if he's not available and you have to go into a game and you don't have him compared to if you have Kyle Kuzma, I suppose that's the one I'm most intrigued by. I'm not sure it's, really going to change a lot. And since you did bring up the Central Division, to me, the deal with the Cavaliers and Hawks, I'm not sure if that's yet official or all of the, different layers that could be to that. But I thought the Cavs had a really good chemistry going. And DeAndre Hunter, people like him. I liked him maybe more, at different times in his career with potential. I think you're going to miss something by George Niang and Karis LeVert. It seems like the people who are grading trades initially seem to like that from Cleveland's perspective because they think Hunter can do a little bit more. I don't know. I'd be careful if I'm Cleveland messing up a good thing when you consider what Niang and to me LeVert meant to the chemistry and the vibe of that team. So I'll be interested to watch that one as well.
So, Jeremiah Johnson, Pacers Television on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And let's see, the Pistons did some minor work, but honestly, they did it, I think, significantly, I thought, at least with guys we know at the guard position. So, some places where they really needed, they added to it. So it's just kind of interesting the way that the Pacers within their own division, other teams obviously went a little bit harder at it.
Yeah, right now the Central Division is a competitive division. The Bulls went the other direction, but the other 4 teams are really trying to put their best foot forward, and all of them want to be among the 8 that are officially in the playoffs. And Detroit reminds me a little bit of maybe a Houston team from last season, even though they've got some vets, kind of like Houston acquired some vets, and they want to get into playoffs desperately. The Pacers beat them a week and a half ago, and then they had a couple of buzzer-beating home losses that can be demoralizing. Dennis Schroeder didn't really work out for the Warriors, but it sounds like, is that what I haven't seen everything that's happened in the last 2 hours. So is Schroeder to Pistons what you were referring to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that'll be interesting. They do have a lot of vets, and if and when the Pacers play the Pistons at any point moving forward, now they're not going to play again in the regular season. So if they get to play them somehow in the playoffs, that would be spicy. And I think they're going to be putting up a fight against whoever they might play down the stretch just to try to get into the playoffs.
That's JJ's with us from Southern California. How do you size up the matchup later on tonight? I thought we knew that Portland game was going to be tough. I thought the Pacers did make it a lot tougher on themselves. Both squads were in the second of a back-to-back. But that was tough, especially the way late in the fourth it unraveled, unlike it came together the night prior in Salt Lake City. But what's your expectation for what we witness with the Clippers and the Pacers later on tonight?
Well, the one thing is teams that are really good defensively, at times I'm a little concerned because the Pacers are good offensively, but if a team is a real good defensive team, they can cause the Pacers problems. They can kind of get them out of what they do best. And what we saw with Portland is, I don't know if their season-long rankings and ratings are as good, but of late they are playing really, really good defense. And they had a specific game plan to take Tyrese Halliburton out of the game, and you don't need to – if you watch the game or look at the box score, they're both very similar. You just didn't get enough out of Tyrese Halliburton. They succeeded in their mission of taking him out of the game. And when that happens, the Pacers are not the same team. And there are so many different stats that we can share with number of field goal attempts, number of points, just the activity level. And he just wasn't able to get into the flow. So that'll be the biggest response I'm looking forward to watching early tonight is the Clippers are also a very good defensive team. They're extremely well coached, so they might follow a similar game plan as the Rockets had, or I should say the Blazers had. And how can the Pacers respond? I know that'll be – the Pacers have a veteran coaching staff. So now there are a couple of different times this season, few probably, where teams have decided it's their mission to take Tyrese Halliburton out of the game. How do you get him going and how do you adjust? And I think the Pacers will have a plan and an adjustment, and I can't wait to see how it all transpires tonight against the Clippers.
One guy that's been interesting for them this year has been the emergence of Norman Powell is really across the board. And this is just me finding some interest in it. Is I thought he was always a good player. I just kind of looked at him as a streaky scorer, but he's evolved into, a consistent higher level player this year for sure.
He has. When the All-Star reserves were announced, he wasn't a name that maybe first comes to mind, but I thought he was one of the biggest snubs, if you will, or names that were left out. He's averaging 24 points per game on a team that also has James Harden. So they have a lot of firepower. I was also caught off guard yesterday when we get the update for the injury report. And so many times when you are preparing for a Clippers game, that is one of the things you think of is who's available, is Kawhi Leonard healthy, that sort of thing. And it said no names to report. So everyone is healthy and available. That seems kind of rare for the Clippers. Now, I don't, again, have all of the official details, but it did seem like they have made a number of deals, or at least 2, maybe 3 this afternoon that will change their depth. And so it might help them moving forward, but they could be a little bit shorthanded in terms of who normally comes off the bench. So that'll be something to watch. They'll be without some of their key rotation players because the guys they have traded for, you would not think are going to be here and available tonight. So it'll mean even more of Norman Powell, and you have to respect what he's done for where he came into the league and where he's at right now. I have the utmost respect for Norman Powell.
Yeah, Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Nicholas Batum, the vet. I think Patty Mills, another vet that has recently joined them. So, their bench is going to be suffering from a great deal of shrinkage tonight for sure. But their starters across the board, including Zubats in the pivot, their starters are legit.
Yeah, and Zubats is dependable. He's started 48 games, and you see the rebounding numbers averaging nearly 13 a game. And I still have some bad memories of a game, I don't even know how many years ago, but I think he had 29 or 30 rebounds against the Pacers. So that'll be one of the priorities. Rebounding has also been a little bit of a concern over the last few games. So the Pacers were playing so well in January. They still have won 2 of their last 3, but I think anyone with the team would say if you just look at those last 3 games, Hawks, Jazz, Blazers, they're just not as sharp as they were. So to win 2 of the 3 while not being your best is a good sign. Now it's time with 4 games before the All-Star break to get some of that playing your best basketball out there. And they'll need to because the Clippers are good. The Lakers are just a completely different story right now with the energy that'll be in that building on Saturday. And then you got the Knicks coming to Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Tuesday. So the next 3 games I'm going to classify as must-see TV.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We'll be checking you out later on tonight. We should note you guys will be, even though this thing got flexed, obviously, with a big network on Saturday, you guys are going to be live, local, and late breaking per usual.
Yeah, there'll be a few different options, but we'll have coverage for you on Saturday afternoon, and I'm looking forward to it. It seems like we've been on location for some surprise big events, and we had one against the Lakers way back. I remember being an afternoon about like this, and we got word that Kobe Bryant had announced that he would retire from basketball, and the Pacers played the Lakers that night. And so we were kind of in the middle of that craziness. And then this one we've known about for a while. I don't think it's official that Luka Doncic is playing on Saturday, but given the news that you mentioned with the television plans, it seems like all signs point toward this being a high-profile, highly rated afternoon of NBA action on Saturday.
Jeremiah Johnson of Pacers TV later on tonight, 10 o'clock your coverage begins, 10:30 the tip time, the Intuit Dome. You get a chance to check that out for the first time, watching the Pacers and the Clippers. Game 3 of a 4-game Western Road swing for the Pacers later on tonight. JJ, we shall be watching, man. Enjoy it out there. Have some fun in Southern California.
Yeah, and I did talk with your guy, Miles Turner. I figure I should close off this interview with this, and we'll share hopefully some of his comments on pregame or during the game. He had a nice social media post about being a survivor. He said that, you always, want to be here and that you never really know when your name's out there in rumors. He said kind of gets the hairs on the back of your neck standing up a little bit, but he seemed very pleased that he was still with the Pacers and looking forward to the next few months.
We'll watch for that coming up in its entirety later on tonight. JJ, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, John, good luck with that early morning hoops game. I'm a big fan of Monrovia as well. Spent a lot of time there over the summer, so you'll have a good time tomorrow.
Will do, JJ. Thank you very much. Yeah, shout out to Monrovia, Coach Nick and Mark James for the hookup, a little morning hoop out there. Carl's the on-site engineer. I see Ethan and Kevin here. I'm John. We're live at Tom's Watch Bar downtown. Let me take a break and come back. James Wiseman for cash and a conditional second rounder, which will open up a roster spot that maybe the Pacers could maybe add somebody in the buyout season, which is forthcoming as well. We shall see. Tom's Watch Bar discussion continues. Tucker Barnhart coming up at the top of the hour is on his way to Arizona to train with the Texas Rangers. And I got complimentary oil changes, courtesy of Express Pro Tire and Auto, also to hand out to you. And Love Fest tickets coming up on the show, too. That is on the way. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Tom's Watch Bar, I'm downtown. BT Dew, who is a man about town, big-time listener to this show and the JMV Takeover. And you know me, Carl, with the Daisy brand products, Daisy, the low-fat cottage cheese. This is your corridor, your pathway, your whole way to greatness right here.
Absolutely.
And even though I'm pissed off at Kroger because they don't advertise on this show, which is just dumb as hell, seriously. And I know you're saying, well, wait a minute, you're giving them love right now. Well, it's going to be fleeting love. I will give you unconditional love when your asses advertise on this show at some point. Way too many people that I know that work there, and way, way too many times I go there. But, Carl, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Daisy brand low-fat cottage cheese, normally $3.79,
That.
$2.99 right now.
You can take that
at
savings
Kroger.
to the bank.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm going right after the show. But, man, Kroger, get your ass on board here. What are we doing? Serious, what are we doing? Look, I've got people sending me X messages about the deals that you have. Think of what you could get out of this if we were in love unconditionally.
They could be
You know
your
what I mean?
bros.
Yeah, if we were bros. Can you imagine if Kroger, you were my bro? So, shout out to BT Dew. $2.99 is a good deal right there. I'll take it. JMV, so the next game is the first home game after the West Coast trip. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, the schedule makers this season, and I know you're wanting me to play the world's smallest violin, oh, woe was us, but the schedule makers of the NBA, they have screwed the Pacers big. Hey, let's go to France. Hey, let's come back, and then 2 games at home, and then you go out west for 4 games. Hey, then you come back and you get the Knicks. Who's done that? Did Tyler Ford put this together? Zach Zarba. Clearly, they did not put the schedules together, but I think it's been a massive screw job. I don't like it. So I completely agree, Skivvies, on that. Quick break, we'll come back. Joe Childers is here, Express Pro Tire and Auto. I've got complimentary oil changes. Plus, I've got some stuff from AAA and Matt. When Matt joins us a little bit later on, it's just me and my attempt, because we're in love unconditionally, and you're my bros, to give back to you, too. And speaking of love, Love Fest tickets for you. After 7, Jeffrey Osborne, John B. I'm telling you what, if you're thinking about, in the terms of love, Tripping the Light, fantastic, Carl. That's a show that you want to take faith to right there, buddy, let me tell you. All right? The after effect of that show will be overwhelming. I'll give you a couple of passes for that a little bit later, too. Tom's Watch Bar, we're downtown. Tucker Barnhart's on his way out west to train with the Texas Rangers. Mark Janes, the voice of the 500, and Mike Chappell, where a couple of former Colts be announced to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We discussed that and more coming up after 5. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Holy hell, am I a big fan of Tom's Watch Bar. I love it in here. My man, PM, the P to the M, Montgomery, is sitting right next to me. Carl's to my left right here, trying not to jack up the show. James back at the studio. Ethan's here talking to Joe Childers. I have Express Pro Tire and Auto complimentary oil changes. Hey, believe me, we all need oil changes, right? We need oil changes, especially complimentary in our life. I've got some while they last for you here. Love Fest tickets a little bit later on to give away. And I have heard that my man Matt Goins is southbound and down from AAA to give away stuff you absolutely love for your cars and that peace of mind from AAA. So be ready for that. That's likely to happen, likely to occur coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Mark Janes, voice of the greatest spectacle in racing and host of some knuckleheads over at Monrovia High School tomorrow. And the provider, along with Coach Nick of Monrovia, I'm going to be playing a little pickup hoop tomorrow morning on the Branch McCracken floor. Outstanding work over there. Thank you, Monrovia, for that. Mike Woodson rumors. I told you what I had heard. I know that there are rumors that Mike Woodson, that IU wants to set up a end-of-the-year retirement for a soft landing, a soft outro. Meantime, there's rumors that Woodson didn't like it and said, you know what, blank this and I'm done or whatever. The only thing that I have heard, and I can tell you, is trying to put together a soft landing or an easier way out for Mike Woodson going into retirement at the end of the year is what the plan has been. And, of course, I've told you that before. So that's the part I have heard. I have not heard where he plans on bouncing before the end of the season because he's pissed. I haven't heard that part. He probably is pissed, but I haven't heard that part of it. IU Michigan coming up, obviously, on Saturday. Purdue and USC. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Mackey Arena, West Lafayette. Carson Steele, the Kansas City Chiefs, with the big game coming up on Sunday. The former Center Grove running back joins us tomorrow. Chad Buchanan, Pacers general manager, joins us on the show tomorrow. To date, trade deadline come and gone. The Pacers traded James Wiseman for cash and a conditional second rounder today. Now, a lot of other teams will get you updated. Did a lot of work, especially within the Pacers division, but we'll get you updated on that and more on the NBA trade deadline coming up in just a bit. Pacers Clippers later on tonight, 10:30 tip time, 10 o'clock. Your coverage begins. We're live at Tom's Watch Bar. I am looking for you. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I'm assuming with his ride right now, would be very considerate of a complimentary oil change from Express Pro Tire and Auto. Tucker Barnhart, our catching friend, on his way to Arizona right now to train with the Texas Rangers. Tuck, thanks for joining the show. Where are you? Whereabouts as of right now?
I'm certainly going to need that oil change when I get to Arizona, but I am on I-40 in eastern New Mexico. So if there's anybody that's listening that's driving on I-40 at mile marker 232 headed west, you will see me. So I'm definitely going to need that oil change when I get to Arizona.
I'm assuming it's you and a bunch of truckers right now, right? Do you have a CB there? Are you talking with truckers? Breaker 19 kind of stuff there?
If I do this again next year, I am going to invest in one because if I pass one semi, it's probably been no short of about 500. It's about me and them, and that's it.
I don't think we don't call. Do we call them semis, or is it like logistics now? Is it logistics? It used to be like truckers, and now it's logistics.
There you go. Yeah, it's the suited up version of semi.
Yes,
trucker, anything like that. There you go.
I thought trucker was accurate and adequate enough for that situation, but no, I have not been on US 40 westbound through eastern New Mexico, but I heard it is quite picturesque. Is that true?
It's certainly something. It's looked the same. It's looked the same for about 6 hours. So I'll give you can take what that one's worth. It's green hills, green trees, and brown ground. That's all I got for you.
Where are you in terms of where's the place that's like what is it, Area 51 with the UFOs and all that crap? Where's that?
Isn't that in Vegas? I just passed Las Vegas, New Mexico. So.
Oh really?
So, maybe
it's not.
there.
It's in New Mexico.
Yes, it's there. I've been there.
Huh? What is it again, Carl?
It's north of Las Vegas.
No,
Area
it's
51.
not. Well, that may be a spot too, but there's one in New Mexico too. Area 51, right?
Yeah,
It's in New Mexico.
Los
There's a
Alamos.
crater, I think, in there in New Mexico or something. Maybe I'll do some research. I'm staying in Albuquerque tonight, so I'll ask the locals.
Okay.
I'll get the locals.
All right. What about White Sands? Are you close to White Sands? Where's that? Do we know?
Yeah, I don't think I'm close to any White Sands, if I'm being honest with you.
No, White Sands was a movie. I kind of liked it too. I think it's Mickey Rourke back in the day was White Sands. I believe that was White Sands of the day. Tucker Barnhart joins us. The decision was made for you to head with Texas to camp and report with pitchers and catchers. What did that come down to? The interest on both sides here. Why did you have the interest, and then when did you first hear about the interest that Texas might have to bring you in?
Well, the way last year went, after last year, it was kind of going into the off season with just somewhat of an open mind in any direction. See what was going to happen. The Rangers called pretty early on. It was obvious to me, at least, that I was going to have to sign a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. So you put that with the number of teams that need catching depth, that kind of limited the league to about half, so about 15 teams. Then I limited the teams down to that have carried 3 catchers in the past at the big league level. The Rangers did that in 2023 when they won the World Series. There's some familiar faces for me in Texas. The hitting coach, Donnie Ecker, was with me in Cincinnati in 2019. Tyler Malley is there as a starting pitcher who I caught in Cincinnati for quite a while. Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, I played with both of those guys in the Arizona Fall League in 2013, so I know them. So it was a pretty easy decision for me. The organization was very complimentary of me. Bruce Bochy was very complimentary of me in terms of what I've done in my career and how they valued me and thought I'd be a valuable piece of their organization. So, I mean, they made the decision easy for me, and I'm grateful, thankful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to get back out here to Arizona and play some ball.
He is Tucker Barnhart of the Texas Rangers. He is westbound and down right now in eastern New Mexico on I-40. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Were you at all close to just saying, you know what, I've done it all right now. I'm ready to go ahead and fine-tune the rest of my existence? Were you at all close to a decision like that?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I still can play. I feel like I've been in some unfortunate situations. For one way or another, my play, if I would have played better, I mean, it would have taken care of everything. I mean, I think that's obvious. But I'm thankful for the experiences both in Chicago and Arizona the last couple of years. But I'm looking forward to this one in Texas. Like I said, I got back with a hitting coach in Donnie Ecker, who I, to this point, have had the best stretch of my career in 2019, the latter couple months, and we've revisited some things that have helped me kind of become confident again at the plate, and I'm looking forward to just kind of providing whatever they want me to provide to their organization, and I think that it'll be a situation where I can thrive and help the team and the organization however I can.
So your position, what's it look like as you report along with other catchers and pitchers to the Rangers camp in Surprise, Arizona?
Well, they only have 2 catchers on the 40-man roster. So they have a guy named Jonah Heim, who is a solid young catcher. He was an all-star, I believe, in 23. And then they signed Kyle Higashioka from the Padres last year. He had a really good year. But like I said, they've carried 3 catchers as recently as 2023, virtually the entire year. I think there's a couple scenarios. I mean, the obvious first one would be if there's an injury of any kind. They've made it known to me that I would be probably the first guy that would get the call if I were healthy. And there's the other avenue where they decide to carry 3 catchers again in 2025, like they did in 23. Or there's another avenue where I play well enough in spring training to trade me and trade me to another team that needs catching depth, potentially at the big league level. So those kind of scenarios are what I'm looking at. My goal and my plan is to make them make a decision, play well enough in spring training to, in a way, force their hand. And I think that's what they're expecting. That's what I told them, and they're looking forward to it.
He's Tucker Barnhart. He's joining us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline right here. How old are you? I don't think I knew. I tried to guess. Are you 33?
I turned 34 last month.
Man, I was right on target.
So
we are
close.
bros. I never used the term bro until today. We're bros. You know it?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. You know what? I just passed a sign that said Slaughter in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the band. So I'm hoping, I didn't see a date. I'm hoping that it's tonight. And because I have nothing to do, I might grab a little bit of dinner and go watch Slaughter play. So if that's tonight, you're going to get a couple videos of Fly to the Angels coming.
Oh my God!
Live and in person.
That may be, I believe, Slaughter is Mark Slaughter, the band founder, lead singer, and lyricist, writer, I believe, Mark Slaughter. And you're right, Fly to the Angels is maybe, certainly there's an argument to be had, the greatest power ballad of all time.
It's such a great song. My dad introduced me to that song a long time ago, and I listen to it every time it's on. Every single time. I'll search it. I'll find it whenever I can.
They also have Up All Night, Sleep All Day, I believe, is another one of the Slaughter classics, is it not?
That's a good one, too.
Man. You're going to disappoint me if you don't go see Slaughter later on tonight.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see a date, but I saw that they're playing in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. I don't know when it is, but I'm going to, as soon as I have to stop to get gas or get to the nearest Buc-ee's, I'm going to look it up.
This is Tucker Barnhart's on the road to Surprise, Arizona, to train with the Rangers, and he's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Did you do anything different this offseason?
Not really. To be honest with you, I've felt healthy doing the program and everything that I've done in terms of working out and everything. And so at this point in my career, that's what I'm after, is just being healthy and being in a good position to be on the field. But in terms of offensively, just not to get too far into the fundamental stuff, but just some drills and that I did, like I said, back in 2019 when Donnie was in Cincinnati, that helped me produce at a high level. And I'm looking forward to continue kind of in that lane that simplified things and that allowed me to be, I would say, the best version of me that I've been for an extended period of time.
Man, by the way, Seager's a badass. There's some talent on that squad on the big club.
Yeah, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. So I'm hopeful that they see that I'm an addition to the organization, to the team, and they like what they see and they keep me around. It'd be fun.
Here's Tucker Barnhart on the road to Surprise, Arizona. He's with the Texas Rangers. Hopeful that he can go see Mark Slaughter and the band Slaughter coming up later on tonight in and around Albuquerque in concert. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, let's just say, for example, it's a different night and you're not going to be in town when Slaughter is playing. Don't disappoint me and tell me you're not going to the Waste Management Open once you get in and around Phoenix? I don't know where Surprise is compared to Phoenix, but it can't be too damn far away. You got to make at least one round, don't you?
I don't have any tickets as of now, but if I know anybody that's going, that's not a place to go solo to. You could get lost and no cell service. It's not good. But if I did it so I had probably the greatest sports day of all time a couple years ago. I met former teammate Kurt Casale and his wife and brother out there on Sunday 2 years ago when the Super Bowl was in Phoenix. I was renting a condo just across the street. So we followed the leaders around the front nine. I watched Ricky Fowler make a hole-in-one. We worked our way over to 16. We spent the rest of the day in a suite, drank just one or two cold pops, went to 18, watched Scotty Scheffler win the tournament, and then stumbled my way back to my condo, set my ass on my couch as the national anthem was being sung on of the Super Bowl, and watched the Super Bowl. It was potentially one of the better days of a sports fan could potentially have a couple years ago. So I will try my damnedest to get out there.
That's outstanding. Well, if anybody listening right now happens to be going this weekend, if anybody happens to be going to the Waste Management Open in Phoenix this weekend, because it's fun as hell, it reminds me of like Golden Tee actually being played on a golf course, because that's how enjoyable it is. You look like Ricky Fowler's outfit right now is perfect for the Waste Management Open. But if you're going and you have an extra, get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of Tucker Barnhart, and maybe you guys can make a day or a round of it Saturday or Sunday, right?
That would be a blast. I'll buy the first round.
Man, see, there you go. If you guys are going, somebody let me know, and I'll hook it up there with Tucker Barnhart, who joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I love the fact that you roll out to Arizona and you're driving like that. I've always wanted to just like take off and drive out west like that, and then come back. This is something you traditionally have done. What's the feeling you get out of it, and what was the intrigue, and why do you keep on doing it?
Well, first and foremost, the first time I did it, I drove out my pregnant wife and our dog. That was the first time we did it. I hadn't done it for quite a while until last year. It's kind of like liberating in a way, to be honest with you. You listen to music as loud as you can. You might laugh, but I listened to an entire Dave Matthews concert today. I listened to your show. I get to just kind of go. It's fun I drove to Oklahoma City from Indy last night and then packed up early this morning, got on the road. It's just fun. I love driving. I've always loved driving. But to have all my stuff out there in my own car, it's actually cheaper more than anything else. So it's nice.
Yeah. You could have hit up the Thunder and the Suns last night. I think they played in OKC, did they not?
They did. I stayed across the street. Tickets were crazy. I looked into it, but
yeah,
I had a little early wake-up call to get on the road, and I didn't realize the tip wasn't until 8:30, and I didn't want any part of that. I was asleep by about 10 o'clock.
Let me tell you, this is not an outrageous or original thought by any stretch, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's the best player in the NBA right now. I don't know how much you've watched of him, but I watch him. He had 50 last night, and he might score as fluid and as easily as anybody certainly right now in the NBA. And they talk about all-level scorers and that. He is an absolute joy to watch.
I would agree with that. He guards, too, from what I understand. I think that I heard this morning that he scored 50 last night for the third time in like the last 7 or 10 games, which is just insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I like that team. I like how they guard. They play on both sides. It's really fun to watch.
They do. That is a deep squad, to say the least. Tucker Barnhart's on the road to Surprise, Arizona. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. And by the way, if any of you out there are going to Phoenix for the Waste Management Open and have an extra ticket, Tucker would love to go once he gets in and around Phoenix here, I would assume, coming up at some point tomorrow through Saturday and Sunday. So what's on the agenda? When pitchers and catchers report, what kind of day is that for you? That first day that you have, especially in terms of a new team?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of meeting everybody first. I have to be in Phoenix by the 10th. So I'm only going to be out here for a couple of days before I have to get to work. But the first day is just physicals, really, meeting everybody and just kind of shooting it around, but other than that, it's just kind of try to get in where you fit in, catch bullpens, and just kind of learn and get to know everybody. It's really that simple. I think, and I've said it for quite a while, I think the most important conversations happen during pitchers and catchers camp only, especially from a catcher, just because there are so many instances that come up during a season where you have to kind of refer back to a conversation that you had, just so there's this level of trust or this level of hitting the ground running. If you are inserted in a game where maybe you weren't supposed to be, you weren't starting, you got called up and you're catching a guy that you haven't caught since spring training, you have to develop a relationship basically right off of the bat, and hit and get going as quickly as possible, because spring training it seems like it gets earlier and earlier every year, but also it seems like we break sooner and sooner. I think our last game in Arizona this spring is March 22nd, and then we have two exhibition games in Texas, and then it's opening day. But you have to get to know the guys. I think you have to invest in the person first to really get to understand how they tick, so that you can have a conversation to get where we're headed in the right direction in terms of on the field. So I think those conversations happen. They'll probably happen on February 10th, or they'll start to happen on February 10th.
Have you had any dialogue with Bruce Bochy yet?
I talked to him about a week or so ago. He was extremely complimentary of me. Was excited to get to work with me. And I told him that I told him likewise. I've admired him from afar, and everything that's happened in San Francisco. I believe they won in odd years. He won in an odd year in Texas, and this year's an odd year. So I would expect to be back in the World Series, or at least to have the Rangers back in the World Series.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, he's a guy. You bring a guy like that in to win at the highest of levels, because he's had such a great deal of success. Tucker Barnhart's with us. By the way, Roswell, New Mexico is what I was thinking of. Roswell with UFOs.
Yes, that makes sense. There's a landing there or something, right? Or whoever you.
I think they have like Martians. I think they have Martians like in a cellar or something there.
I tell you what, that looks like the only thing that would live out here where I'm at right now. So you're probably not far off.
I think they just may be hillbillies from southern Indiana that were trying to get to L.A.
No kidding. Hey,
that's about as far as they got.
Now that I think of it, that Slaughter billboard may have been from 1987. So, it could have been playing in Albuquerque in 87. So I don't know.
It might be. Yeah. Slaughter may be opening up for Aldo Nova if you're not careful out there, coming up later on tonight. Hey, let me know if you end up seeing Mark Slaughter later on tonight, and if I get anybody going to the Waste Management, I'll let you know.
I appreciate it. You're the best, man. It's great talking to you again.
Hey, I'm always happy for you. Stay in touch, buddy.
I will. You guys are the best. Thank you.
It's Tucker Barnhart on his way to Arizona, spring training with the Texas Rangers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Thank you all for joining us on what is an incredibly busy day so far. The Pacers trade deadline come and gone. It's just been James Wiseman for cash and then a conditional second round, which does, I think, leave open a Pacer roster position. So we'll see how they go about filling that at some point. Maybe that is, they get a little bit of money, so maybe that is getting an extra body in terms of the buyout markets that is forthcoming. We'll get back to that and a lot more for you. Mark Janes, voice of the greatest spectacle in racing. Mike Chappell, Vinatieri, Wayne, Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll find out later on tonight. Mike joins us. We shall discuss Tom's Watch Bar. I'll give you the lowdown on why you need to be here this weekend for the big game. That is coming up in just a bit. Join us here, Tom's Watch Bar downtown, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Hi, David. I'm Grandpa.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I'm John. Thank you very much from Tom's Watch Bar downtown. We would love to see you. I am watching right now the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We're trying to get Tucker Barnhart passes with you. If you're going this weekend to that event in Phoenix, let me know. Tucker would like to go too. Pacers trading James Wiseman earlier today in cash considerations to the Raptors. A top 55 protected pick, a conditional second rounder, as I explained a little bit earlier. You know, I also, too, you guys are asking me, all right, so they got a roster spot available here. So who could they add in the buyout market? And I know nobody's going to want this. I'm not suggesting this should be it. But according to Evan Sidery and others, Bobby Marks, friend of the show as well, a top buyout candidate to monitor would be one Ben Simmons, everybody. I don't necessarily know if we're going to keep an eye on that with the Pacers, but that is, you said you wanted a name, and hell, I gave you a name right here. Tom's Watch Bar this weekend, upcoming giveaway Saturday, and you got a scan to win the best seat in the house experience. Includes VIP, free bar tab, UFC, coming up on the 13th of March, too. Big game Sunday in here, hats and gear. You got a Chiefs jersey they're going to give away. Got a lot more. I'll explain to you why. Not just today, but coming up this weekend. You need to check out Tom's Watch Bar here downtown. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, you did know this. Incredible, the voice of the greatest spectacle in racing in IndyCar, but also a molder of young minds over at Monrovia High School. Young broadcasting minds, in fact. Mark Janes on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How's the molding going over in Monrovia today?
I'm telling you, brother, you got them excited. I mean, you're gonna play a little hoop in the storied Branch McCracken Memorial Gymnasium in the morning, and everybody is excited to welcome our stellar lineup of judges for our annual Super Bowl prediction show. You'll be judging 11 different presentations tomorrow.
I love that. Now, I'm going to get there, as you mentioned, Mark, at about 5:15, because at 5:30, we've got a little morning pickup basketball going on in Monrovia. Is this a traditional thing there, or are they just doing that because I'm rolling in?
They're making an exception for you. Now, there are some pickup games that take place from time to time, but rarely at 5:15 in the morning. But if you roll into our weight room sometimes at 6:30, something like that, you may see John Staniford and a few others from Monrovia Glory Days gone by, and they're getting their morning workout in.
Wait a minute. Is Staniford going to play a little hoop? Because he could play hoop back in the day, too. I'm assuming he still can.
I would say that the invitation was extended. As to whether or not his job allows him to accept, I don't know. But I'm sure John will do everything he can to be there. And, yes, I can confirm he can still play.
Now, are Monrovia greats Neil Watson or Doug Cook still within the community and still playing? Do we know?
Not within the community, but they don't live far away. I know Neil Watson, I believe, lives over around South Putnam, Cloverdale area. Last time I heard, maybe Greencastle, but yeah, still part of the Monrovia lore for sure. As a matter of fact, our longtime John's high school basketball coach, Chris Sampson, who took us to a couple of semi-states, won a lot of games there. He's now an administrator at Perry Township. He's coming to talk to our kids tonight before we play Greencastle.
Oh man, that's awesome. Those guys are great. We played together in the North Davies Summer League back in the summer of 1987, and I got to know those guys a great deal more. They're just some really good dudes.
I'm sure that's not there's not a lot of people walking the face of the earth that could say they played in the North Davies Summer League. So that's rarefied air for you, my friend.
Oh man, that is absolutely outstanding. I love that. No, those guys are great. And you're right about that. I think former girls coach Vance Edmondson was another that was on my team back girls coach, I can't remember, Clay City maybe for Vance, but I know he had a great deal of success. He was another one of my teammates in the North Davie Summer League. That was well before you get so involved, right, and deeply embedded in AAU. We had a couple of summer leagues we played in. One was in North Davies and one was in Spencer at Owen Valley back then.
I can remember when I was in middle school and early high school, we would have our gym open in the summertime, and Jerry Seasting would show up and play with our guys in the summer. So yeah, I mean those were the good old days. I mean there weren't nearly as many organized activities for high school baseball and football and basketball and all of that. And these schools would just open up the gym and let anybody come in and play. And it was a lot of fun. Those were good times for sure.
He is Mark Janes with us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'm just reminded of this because I know sectionals are going on for the girls right now, and we're going to be 3 weeks away from girls' state finals. Will you be involved in that? I know a lot of this is going to be the precursor to the start of the IndyCar season in St. Pete, but are you going to be doing any of that for the IHSAA radio network?
Yeah, this will be the first year I've not been able to be a part of that in quite a while. I mean, I normally am able to work in a boys semi-state game and then the girls' state finals, but that's the weekend of our season opener at St. Pete, and so I'm committed to that. But happy to be on the call next weekend for girls swimming and diving at the natatorium. And then the following week, we'll have the boys' wrestling state finals. Greg and I will be working together with that, along with the legends Mike Gable and Blake Maurer from Evansville Mater Dei. So still able to do some stuff for the IHSAA network. But, the duty calls in terms of the NTT IndyCar Series in a couple of weeks, and we're excited about that.
How's the silly season and IndyCar treated you from what you gather to where we are right now? Because we're not very far away from the start of the season.
No, I think, it's been interesting the past couple of years. As you know, you follow it. I mean, most of the movement in terms of the silly season, we've actually had more take place in season over the last 2 or 3 years with, drivers moving on and, different drivers in different cars and deals announced earlier and earlier. So, I think there's just one open seat. Dale Coyne, we'll expect that to be filled within a couple of weeks. But, you wonder every year what we're going to do for an encore, and we always find a way to exceed our expectations. But certainly, by the time we get to May, if the Indy 500 needed any more hype, certainly a lot of attention is going to be focused on Joseph Newgarden as he goes for an incredible three-peat.
That's. And that ushers in so many good things. That's, warmer temps, fun once again, too, and then, leads up ultimately to the end of May and the greatest spectacle in racing. So, I really think that, obviously among the Indianapolis 500, that first date on the IndyCar schedule is among some of the more popular because it's back and it brings, a lot of good thoughts about warmth and fun and spring and the summer again.
Something that I'm going to strongly encourage folks to do. This is not an April Fool's joke, but April 1st, the IMS Museum is going to be unveiled. And we had an opportunity back in November to take a hard hat tour and see the construction. And we've seen a lot of the artist renderings and some of the virtual reality of what it looks like. I'm honored that they've asked me to lend my voice to some of the exhibits. And, the old days when you walk in and they used to tell you don't touch anything or step back, please. I mean,
sure.
This is going to be as interactive as anything that you will ever experience. And you're going to walk through that place saying, wow, I can't wait to go through it again. And it's been a lengthy process. It's been a labor of love for the people that are doing it. And I would strongly encourage folks to make that a part of their visit to the world's greatest race course when May rolls around. It's going to be awesome. It's going to look the way a place like that should look.
I've heard just how great that is going to be for sure. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also very excited. From what I hear, we're not too far away with me and my good friend Doug Bowles announcing the Carb Day Spectacular coming up as well. So we're not too far away from that, from, again, what I gather.
I'll tell you what, brother, your show has become as much a part of Carb Day as any other thing that's done out there. And I think the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Bowles, would agree with that. It's always a kick to have a chance after our session to get out there and spend some time with you. And it's got to make you feel good that boy, I mean, you have your legion of fans, that's for sure, and they turn out en masse, and you guys turn that Pagoda Plaza into a big party. And I'm sure the Speedway is certainly appreciative of the passion and enthusiasm that you have for the place throughout the year, but especially during the month of May.
Well, we're going shirtless this year. Shirtless on Carb Day. That's the whole goal of this process. So it's going to be
congratulations on that. My God,
even extra special.
Quite a bit, brother. Good for you.
We are whittling it down. We are cutting out the excess and trying to. We're riding lean as much as we can right now at the age of 55. So.
Yeah, I'm a few pounds behind you, but I've been able to shed about 23 the last couple of months myself. So I've still got some more to go, but I'm like you. The clock's ticking. We're not getting any younger, and it's best to take care of it now for sure.
There's no doubt about that. Now, Mark Janes, voice of the greatest spectacle in racing and IndyCar, joins us. Me, Greg Rakestraw, Dave First, all going over tomorrow. This is a part of a broadcasting course that you teach over in Monrovia. Before I let you go, a little bit more about that and how many years have you been doing it?
Yeah, Dick Yeoman, Lance Scheib going to be on that panel too, and we're grateful for all of you guys to come and lend your talents and abilities and knowledge. This is my 7th year back at Monrovia High School, and we have 6 different classes. A couple of those classes, because of numbers, we've divided them up into 2 or 3 groups, and a couple will do a multimedia presentation, and the rest, at least the lesser experienced kids, will be doing PowerPoint presentations, and we're going to do it in our Performing Arts Center up on the stage, which will be a beautiful venue for it. And what they do, John, they essentially break down both of the teams. I mean, they look at the coaches, the quarterbacks, and they look at key positions like running backs and receivers, and then they flip to the other side of the football, and they talk about key defenders for both teams. They give team stats, talk about their record on the season. They break down the coaches. They even talk about the gambling line on the Super Bowl, which is much a part of it as anything else. They'll preview the halftime show for you where you can watch it. How much tickets are and all of that. It's and then of course they make their predictions toward the end. They've been working on it for 2 full weeks, and we did our rehearsal today. And I continue to be amazed at the talent and the ability and the work ethic of these kids. I mean, if you think good things aren't happening in public schools, we invite you to come out and visit Monrovia at some point. And I do want to throw in one more plug for a young man that was part of my very first class at Monrovia High School, and I think Chris Widlake and Michael Young were among the judges that came out that year. He's finishing up his grad work at Ball State in the Sports Link department, but he is going to finish that up online because he was just hired to be a replay producer at ESPN in Bristol, Andrew Willett. And we're awfully proud of Andrew, and he's representing us well at ESPN for sure.
You got it. Well, tell Coach Nick I'll be there about 5:15 or so in the morning, ready to rock for a couple hours. So thanks for putting that together for me too.
Yeah, glad to do it. And you got to get hooked up with our new superintendent, Trent Provo. He came from Eastern Green, so he's anxious to meet you.
Oh, well, I cannot wait for that. Tomorrow in Monrovia, I'll be there about 5:15 in the morning. Can't wait to see the presentations and be a part of that. Thanks for the invite.
All right, thanks, brother. Talk to you soon.
It's Mark Janes, voice of the greatest spectacle in racing, and part of a broadcast course over at Monrovia, where I'm going to go tomorrow. And we're going to look at presentations. But before that, I'm going to go over there and play a little pickup basketball as well. All right, let me take a break. I know Matt is here and Brittany is here from AAA. We're going to line up what we have to give away. I just was talking to Godbow, by the way, too, just now, too. And I'll tell you what that is off the air. Pretty good, though. We'll talk about that and more. And Mike Chappell, Vinatieri and Wayne, as far as the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That chatter coming up, too. Trade deadline coming, gone. One move, fairly non-significant, certainly for the Pacers. And Mike Woodson rumors we'll get into as well. All that and more coming up. Tom's Watch Bar downtown. We are open now at Tom's Watch Bar, so you can officially join us on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Yeah, Travel Expo is going to be outstanding coming up on the 22nd.
We are really looking forward to it. It's been downtown for a while. Now it's going to be up on the north side.
The Ritz Charles?
The Ritz Charles. Free parking.
Whose idea was that? Was that Brittany? Was that yours?
Yeah.
Was that your idea?
Love the north side.
Oh, yeah. So we got that. You got stuff to give away coming up here, too, right?
I'm excited to see what we're giving away. I don't know
You
yet,
don't even know what we're giving away? Why don't you know?
I'm flying blind. So.
You're the guy here.
Yeah.
God about sent me a couple of texts.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Is that good or bad normally?
We're going to all be surprised.
Oh, we are going to be very surprised here. So maybe a little tease before we hit a break of what we're going to give away here to folks.
Well,
what do you got?
I mean, I know Saturday we're going to be giving away a lot of stuff.
Okay.
At the IU game. It's
yeah.
AAA day, IU versus Michigan. Big day for us.
How's that going to go, by the way?
You know, I love the Hoosiers. So
yeah. Well, I think I've told you before, Dusty May, the Michigan head coach, and I went to high school together.
Well, did I tell you that Dusty May's mom was like my seat attendant at IU for about 7 years?
I did not know that.
And I know a lot about Dusty.
Yes.
She's very
proud.
So
that's awesome right there.
Yeah, she was pretty awesome. Of course, I didn't know who he was or his background.
Yeah.
And now I know a lot.
You know a little bit now.
Yeah.
And there's a heavy discussion going on about that.
Yeah.
A little bit right now regarding Mike Woodson and everything. All right, Brittany, you want to add something before we hit the top of the hour? You look like you have something on your mind right there. What do you got?
Join us at the IU game on Saturday.
Yes. All right. Well, you can explain that and more coming up.
Perfect.
I got Mike Chappell. We're going to talk about Pro Football Hall of Fame and who may get in as a former Colts player. But we got plenty of time in the 5 for you guys as well. So sit tight, okay?
Great. Thanks for having
us.
us.
AAA opportunities for you coming up, too. Love Fest tickets. I'll explain the artists, the musicians that will be a part of that. Coming up, too. We got tickets for you as well. Hey, don't go anywhere. Tom's Watch Bar. We are downtown. Only one very minor deal for the Pacers prior to the NBA trade deadline. We'll explain that. Reggie Wayne, Adam Vinatieri, who gets in later on tonight. Mike Chappell with more on that coming up next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
hell's in there, but it's weird and pissed off, whatever it is.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, Tom's Watch Bar. We're downtown, everybody. Got a big weekend for it, too. It is officially open. Yeah, I know you're going to see the construction out front, but yeah, you don't be scared away by that. Just come on in. I know for the big game, they're going to give away a Chiefs jersey. And speaking of the Chiefs, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, Carson Steele of Kansas City is going to join us. The former Center Grove standout is going to be on the show. And we've got a lot of stuff that they're going to be giving away, too. Obviously, big game is going to be on the big screens down here. Tom's Watch Bar all weekend long. Before we get to our next guest, let me reintroduce Matt and Brittany from AAA here. Matt, we shall start with you.
Okay.
We got stuff to give away.
We do.
How are we going to give that away? Enlighten me on that.
That's up to you.
It's up to me?
Yeah.
You want to do it on the phone? Do you want to do it live here? How would you like to do it?
Let's do it live here.
What does it entail? What are we giving away?
Okay, so we have two different giveaways. One is 4 front row seats to the Indians home opener on April 1st.
Gotcha.
The other, in spirit of pothole season, will be a set of 4 tires.
People love.
When
you give away nothing of the Indians, they love that too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think people realize, like AAA, just in our little 50-county territory,
yeah,
we do 60,000 tire calls a year.
60,000.
60,000.
Yeah.
You know, and
I'd figure probably did half of that like in the last week around here.
Well, you've probably never met anyone so excited that's not 32 or under right now, because we did 25,000 calls in January.
Yeah,
that's a lot. It's 25,000. People say, well, why do I need AAA?
Yeah.
Well, we had 25,000 people need us last month.
That is it. Hey, Brittany, how are we doing with AAA right now? How about you?
Good.
You coming up with a lot of great ideas?
Trying.
Flying around and trying it. There's no doubt about that. So we got stuff to give away. You too.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll figure it out. We may try to do something on the phones as well here, too. I kind of want to get the listeners
You tend to
involved
make
right
it pretty easy, like they just have to call in. What if they had to answer a question? Like,
you want to do question? I don't want people Googling. I don't like cheaters.
Oh, I don't have a non-Googleable question. So
Well,
I
see,
think we're in trouble.
it's funny you bring that up. We used to do something called the ungoogleable question.
Yeah.
Which I just made that name up.
Googleable.
And it was all about me.
Oh.
And I would come up with what was my favorite song in 1985.
Well, do your listeners know we went to the Justin Timberlake concert together? So I probably
think
know
they
some things about you that
they do.
not Googleable.
Yes, yeah. And I sat next to the wildest group of Zionsville women ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like 4 of them right there.
Yeah,
you
had them shooting promos.
They were wild. Yeah, they did shoot promos.
Yeah.
They were wild there.
We've got some commercials ready to go.
I didn't know Zionsville. I go, I got to get up there sometime. Zionsville's got some wild women.
Yeah.
Are you from Zionsville, Brittany?
I am not, but
No.
they get pretty wild.
Don't ever go out with JMV.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be able
People
to keep
following
up.
us everywhere.
Zionsville women, though, man.
I didn't even realize you carried your 8x10 glossies.
I do.
Hand out.
I do. I say, here, I got it right here. Just pull it out of the back of my pants. And
Phone number on every one of them.
Right there.
It's
buddy.
amazing.
You guys sit tight.
Okay.
We'll come back with you guys from AAA. Big giveaways forthcoming. So be ready in whatever fashion we decide to give that away. You got Indians front row tickets for the home opener in April, and you've got a set of 4 tires for you right stinking now coming up. So sit tight on that. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I'm assuming with the smooth roads over in and around Beech Grove, our next guest probably would dig on a set of new tires. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 joins us. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you? I just had some new tires put on my car in the last month. Two in the back, new, and then I had some new ones. So I'm all set. And hey, potholes are a necessary evil of plowing snow off the ground. So you can't have one unless you're going to accept the other.
There's no doubt about that. Can't get away from it. And really what happens is they just are created, especially when it gets warmer. So what we're looking for once it gets warmer, the expansion of pot. And around here, we know this. We're a little slow on the roll to get stuff done like that. So,
yeah. But, it's the bad part is when you're some places on the interstate, there's some pretty good chucks on the interstate. And you hit one of those puppies going about 65, and it can do some serious damage to your tires.
No question about that. Well, how's things going to look as far as the Hall of Fame later on tonight? What are you thinking? Reggie Wayne, Adam Vinatieri. I'm thinking Vinatieri is a slam dunk. You tell me what you're thinking about tonight.
I am
because I know you already know. I know you already know.
Yes, I know. This is one of those where we've done this before. If you ask me a question, I'll blink once for yes and I'll blink twice for no. How about that? Is that doing good?
Okay, you got it. I see what you're saying right there. I think I know what you mean.
It's a difficult process, and it's not perfect at all. The thing that made it different this year, without getting too much in the weeds, again, there's 15 finalists, modern era finalists, and we talked for 8-9 hours. And the vote we cut from 15 to 10, and normally we cut to 5, and then you vote yes or no on the 5, and almost always we get 5 in because if they get to the final 5, you vote for them. This year we changed it. We didn't. I mean, the Hall of Fame did, where it cut from 15 to 10 to 7, and then from those 7, you vote for 5. So it was. They said it was to make sure that people earn their 80%. I think it was because they didn't want us to know who the 5 were. Again, I've known who the 7 were for the last month, but we won't know. They won't announce the list of the people until tonight at 10 o'clock. So stay up. I don't like the process because there's a real good chance that 5 modern era guys won't get in. Maybe only 4, and there's a chance that only 3 get in. Well, what that does is it pushes these guys who are worthy this year into next year. And, oh, by the way, next year we get Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, Frank Gore, and Phillip Rivers. So, we always complain in the room about having backlogged and quality players that can't get in. Well, we've just made it worse because whoever don't get in this year, whether it's Luke Kuechly or whether it's Reggie, whether it's Vinatieri, then they're in that group next year. So hopefully we can readjust this to where I know people think that maybe 5's too many. I don't know that I agree with that because you look at some guys who don't get in from year to year, and they're all pretty darn good players, very, very good players. So we'll see, but I know Reggie's getting extremely frustrated. I stood up and talked for Reggie again 6 years in a row, and then I was the number 2 guy for Vinatieri after Ron Borges of the New England area talked about him.
Right.
And in my mind with Vinatieri, I stood up, it was on Zoom, and I said, if this was any other position, you guys would tell me to sit my ass down because, of course, he's a Hall of Famer. It's sort of like Brett Favre and Peyton Manning and Jerry Rice. Some guys are just first ballot Hall of Famers. They just are. 4 Super Bowls. He won 2 with kicks. He made those kicks against Oakland in the 2001 playoffs that if he doesn't make them, New England's maybe they still have multiple Super Bowls, but they don't win the one in 2001. So all-time leading scorer. I just thought he was, without question, first ballot, and we'll see. But then the pushback is, well, he's a kicker. Well, come on. If you're the best at your position to ever do it, and you've got the Super Bowl rings to prove it, then what are we doing? So, but there's 49 selectors. Everybody's got their own opinions, and Eli Manning is in this group this year. 2 Super Bowls. He took down New England twice. And I'm telling you, there was a lot of back and forth with Eli Manning. It was one of the longest debates we've ever had on a player because it's a very divisive player because of the body of work. He won 2 Super Bowls and he was MVP. In his other 13, 14 years, he never won a playoff game. So, that's why it's interesting and this back and forth and why most people never agree. I'm talking the public, never agree with the 5 or fewer now that we come up with.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. The criteria, has it at all lessened? Because we hear about that all the time in terms of, I hated to use the term watering down, but that's the most common term, I think, described by those that say that maybe the criteria has decreased just a little bit. As you've been a part of this entire process, is that at all the case in terms of the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
It's gotten harder to differentiate between Reggie Wayne and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Steve Smith. Steve Smith he got in the room for the first time this year, and he's got great numbers. So I don't know if it waters it down. We need to find some way that if we don't think these guys are Hall of Famers after 7, 8, 9, John Lynch, it took him 8 years to get in. So yeah, I don't know. The passing numbers have changed, and it's hard to differentiate between like a Reggie and a Torrey Holt. I'm still PO'd over Andre Johnson getting in last year. It just infuriates me. Reggie's career was better. Not that Andre Johnson wasn't a Hall of Famer, isn't a Hall of Famer, but Reggie was waiting longer. Torrey Holt's been waiting longer, so I didn't care for that. Now I still don't. And it creates this backlog we have of Reggie having to wait at least another year. But and then what's difficult is, okay, I've got receiver stats, I've got running back stats. Then how do you compare that with a guard, with a center, with a defensive end, with a linebacker? It's really difficult. It really is. But I don't know that it's watered down. Again, the passing game makes receivers more difficult to judge. But the guys that get in are worthy. I just think there are other guys that could get in that I have seen not get in. But I don't think 5's too many. I really don't. I look at baseball; they get like 1 or 2 guys in, and these knuckleheads that don't vote guys in unanimously. What are you doing in baseball? Didn't each year get all but 1 vote? So there's been like 2 guys that are unanimous. So yeah, all the processes have flaws. We do the best we can, and we never make everybody happy because some guys are going to get left out.
You mentioned that Reggie Wayne's becoming a little bit frustrated. As to what level, through your conversations with him, might that be?
Barry, I talked to him at the end of the year, just one of those, hey, if you do, if you don't, how are you feeling? He said, he thinks they keep, in his mind, they keep moving the goalposts. And, well, you need this. Well, I got that. I need this. Well, I got that. So not to the level – we've had a few guys through the years that said, basically, take my name off the list. Quit bringing it up. You obviously don't want me. Edgerrin was close to that. He got in like in his 6th year. And all I kept telling him is, hey, wait your time. I know it's hard to be patient. Marvin Harrison wanted his name taken out of the consideration after not getting in the first year, which the fact that Marvin wasn't first ballot is ridiculous, just beyond ridiculous. But it's the same thing over and over. If he doesn't get in, we'll talk to him next year about, well, what do you think about this year? And what's he supposed to say? He just told me he's kind of numb to it, and people will come up and say, hey, congratulations, you're in the final 15. And he says, what's he supposed to say? So in that regard, he's frustrated. And the fact that he sees his career against other people and in his mind, and probably rightly so, his career was better. You've got Dwight Freeney went in last year, and Robert Mathis has trouble getting much attention or support. So it's I understand Reggie's frustration. I do, because I went through it the same level with Edgerrin. So you just this is no consolation, but once you get in, you're in. Some guy that gets in first ballot and some guy gets in after 6 years. There's not a different shade of gold on the jacket. It's still the same yellow jacket, and it's not different. But I understand having to go through this every year and maybe another year and maybe another year. It's got to be frustrating because I look at Reggie's career and doggone it, it's as good as guys that are in there. And like I said, the problem is if Reggie doesn't get in, then Larry Fitzgerald is up next year, is eligible next year, and Drew Brees, and that's they're going to be probably 2 first ballot guys, but that takes 2 spots. So it just makes it hard. Yeah. And before long, Tom Brady and J.J. Watt, Ben Roethlisberger. So it just makes it difficult when these guys don't get in. And, well, maybe next year. Well, maybe next year there's another group of players that might be regarded better. I don't know. So I understand Reggie's frustration, and it's understandable. And one of these years, maybe this year, it changes.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 joins us. Honestly, with Adam Vinatieri, you got, correct me if I'm wrong, Morton Anderson, Jan Stenerud, Lou Groza, George Blanda, Ray Guy, the punter. Is that, I'm sorry, he overshadows absolutely everyone. So to me, it would be absurd not to bounce him in here. And if there's anybody that played a position in the NFL to the highest of levels and deserves induction, in this first go around here, that's him, right?
Well, you're preaching to the choir, right? And the problem is, if he got to the final 7, well, again, you can only vote for 5, and it dilutes, and there's a chance that maybe a player gets 78% of the vote instead of 80. Well, you don't get in. But no, again, Vinatieri's a guy that, 4 rings, and he won 2, and he kick-started that literally New England's dynasty in 2001. It's crazy. And I had lunch with Adam a couple weeks ago, just in case he got in or whatever. And he's when they had the 100-year anniversary team, he and Stenerud were the kickers. And it's just what else? What do you want? Other than the fact he's a kicker. And we always say, well, special teams, it's as important as offense and defense. Well, then Ray Guy, the kicker, the punter, he had to get in on the seniors committee. So for 20 years, he didn't get in. It took Morton Anderson 4 or 5 years, and Morton didn't have anywhere near the postseason history that Adams got. So, it's just – I just don't like to hear, well, he was a kicker. Well, he was also, the most points in regular season and the offseason or in postseason. And he's like second all-time in Colts history in games played, and he's first in points in games played in years, and that's after 10 years in New England. So it's he's just a kicker thing. Well, he's the reason that the Patriots won. Remember the Colts in 2006 playoffs at Baltimore, 15-6. That's 5 Vinatieri field goals. So I thought I agree with you. I think he's a no-brainer. It's like what are we doing if he's not? What is it that you guys want from a player? But it always goes back to he's a kicker. Devin Hester, it took him like 3 or 4 years to get in, and he was arguably the best, the most feared return guy maybe ever after Gale Sayers. So I don't know what people want, but Vinatieri, I don't know what you can add to the resume to say this makes him better. I'm with you on that. He should be a no-brainer.
All right, no Myles Garrett either, right? I'm assuming nothing, no interest.
Oh, there's got to be interest. But he wants to go to a contender.
You know what I mean by that. I shouldn't have said no interest. Yeah.
Yeah, I can think of 10 other spots he'd rather go than here. But wouldn't he look good rushing the? We saw what he did when Cleveland was here. Was it 2 years ago when he totally wrecked the game?
Yeah.
But it's going to take 2 first-round draft picks and then the team minimum, and then somebody's got to pay him, I don't know, $35-40 million a year, and I don't think that's going to be these guys.
Mike, let's just say if you're the decision maker and he was open to it. And I know that he's been open to like more than a handful of other so-called contenders, of which not named the Colts. But if you were the decision maker and he had interest in coming here, how hard at it would you go?
Well, if you're going to make a push, you make a push. I mean, one thing that I think Chris Ballard mentioned in January about will he change his approach in free agency or whatever, and he sort of said that what they have to do is if they're going to be in on somebody to really make a push and close the deal. And whether he was thinking about Danielle Hunter, where they were close to signing him, and then he went to Houston, probably over guaranteed money, or the fact that Houston was probably a better team. I don't know. But boy, if you're going to chase, Myles Garrett or T. Higgins or somebody, then I think they go above and beyond to make sure they get it done. And boy, Myles Garrett's going to demand and earn and deserve an incredible contract and compensation. And boy, that seems like a bridge too far for this team when you know. And I realize he's a difference maker, but boy, you need 3 or 4 things on this team. A corner, a safety, a quarterback to push Richardson. And as much as Myles Garrett would move the needle, what would that do to keep you from doing other things? Would he be that much of a difference maker that you could go without the other things? I don't know. I think you talk about it and think, man, it's just going to be too much. But boy, if you can get that player. But again, look what he's done in Cleveland individually, and they can't get over the hump because they're missing pieces elsewhere, primarily quarterback. Again, what we've talked about, if the Colts don't get the quarterback thing fixed, none of this matters. But I wouldn't mind seeing him here, but I think I'd be very, very surprised, even shocked, if the Colts were in the group that will make a strong push for him.
That's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. He knows who's getting in or not getting in the Hall of Fame. However, he will not tell us.
Can't see it, that's on
Sworn
you.
to secrecy.
Yep.
I know. I think I know. I think I know.
What's that? If you think you know,
I
then
know
you
that
don't
Vinatieri's getting in and Reggie isn't. Yeah, I think I know. But you haven't told me,
you don't
and
know.
you're sure as hell not telling me on the air.
What was it? Was it Dick Vermeil or Jim Moore where some people don't know what they don't know and they never will, or whatever it is? I don't know what it was, but you might be one of those guys. I don't know. Or maybe you know.
That's par for my chorus right there, I think. Mike, I appreciate you as always, man.
Talk at you next week, and then I'll say, see, I blinked at you, and you didn't get the telltale signs.
I know. You should have just sent me a text or something, but that's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'll send you a text
It's all
tomorrow.
good. I
I'll send you a
understand.
text
Thanks,
tomorrow
Mike.
morning. How about that?
Gotcha. Mike Chappell of CBS 4, Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Thank you, Mike. We are rejoined by our friends from AAA. Got Matt and Brittany right here. Tom's Watch Bar downtown. We got stuff to give away.
Yeah, we do. This place is incredible.
It's huge.
There's some TV.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Now, and I know I'm going to give them a lot of credit, too, because I've had to deal with this out front here. I mean, my God. Yeah. It's like Ben Park. Can you imagine? Hey, I'm going to go walk in here, and you got some big backhoe sitting right out there.
It didn't stop me. Easy parking.
No, it did, yeah. Exactly.
This place is awesome.
I tell you what. Why don't we'll work some phones on the other side. You want to do that? We'll talk up your event, and Brittany can bring up that as well. But we'll give somebody the opportunity at the tickets and the tires coming up on the other side. You want to do that?
Awesome. Let's do it.
That's Matt. That's Brittany. Are you okay with that, Brittany?
Yeah,
I should ask for you. Yeah, we're all good. Love Fest tickets, too. That's Jeffrey Osborne and Indy's own After 7. You remember the song Ready or Not?
Well, you know I'm terrible with memory.
No, Ready or Not? Did you play After 7 down in Columbus when you were a DJ?
No.
What did you play at the River? Is that your station, the River?
No, it's QMix 107.3.
But it wasn't
the River. My station. I just had a little segment on it. Get going.
I guarantee you QMix back in the day played After 7.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
You ever play the Woo Woo song
You're
by
going back like
Jeffrey Osborne?
18, 19 years ago. I can't even remember what I did yesterday.
This is a true story. I actually like the river in Columbus a great deal. I listen to it all the time.
It's a good channel.
They got a dude named Mike Sullivan in the afternoon. Now here, James. Mike Sullivan in the afternoon, some guy named Cody in the morning. I like those guys. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons I'm drawn to it is because I'm a huge fan of live local radio.
Yeah.
And they give you that particular option. All right, enough of that. We'll come back again with Matt, and we'll come back with Brittany, and we'll give you a chance to win some stuff. So sit tight on that. Tom's Watch Bar, we're downtown. Thank you for joining us. Back with you next. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
together.
Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back to Tom's Watch Bar. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. You've got a busy weekend here, as you might expect. Best seat in the house experience going on Saturday, VIP, and a free bar tab going on. You got UFC, what is that, 313, I think is what that is. I believe that's what the UFC, anybody a UFC fan, what number are we right now? 3,013? I don't know. But big time UFC place right here, the place to go. And then, of course, the big game on Sunday. They've got gear to give away, a Chiefs jersey to give away, Ray Donaldson signed jersey. If you remember, Ray played back in the day for the Colts as their center. And you've got the women's football team is going to pay a visit. I think Ray coaches them up as well. That is going to be a part of the weekend, a part of Super Bowl Sunday, or in this case, the big game Sunday here at Tom's Watch Bar downtown. So they're awesome. This is a great place. And believe me, you're going to see the construction going on, but do not let that deter you from coming in and enjoying it. Great food and great specials, great drinks, all at Tom's Watch Bar downtown. And I want to remind you, because of all the TVs and because of the Pacers later on tonight, they're going to have that for you. That's a 10:30 tip. 10 o'clock coverage begins here on The Fan. That's Pacers-Clippers tonight. Pacers and Lakers in what is expected to be the debut of Luka on Saturday. Remember, that's been flexed into a late afternoon ESPN game. And you can catch all the action right here at Tom's Watch Bar as well. Rejoined now by Matt and Brittany from AAA, because we have some big goings on, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
All right, where do we start now? We don't have to do the giveaway right now, but remind people of the Travel Expo is coming up on the 22nd.
22nd, Travel Expo, Rich Charles. Members, non-members, some of the best prices you're going to see all year. We have all of our travel agents on hand, so even if you just want to stop in, listen to the band, grab a cup of coffee at the coffee bar, then feel free. Come on in.
Brittany, what's the most popular destination location right now?
Ooh.
What do we got? What if I came up and said, Brittany sent me, I'm going to go to Belize. I'm thinking about Belize in my near future. Is that fairly simple for us to do?
I mean, that's going to be doable.
Yeah.
There's an agent that will get you all set up for that trip. Seamless.
Spring break wise, is it Florida? Is it cruises? Because I know we're kind of zeroed in, targeted in on the spring break here. What's the most popular?
You know, right now, cruising is the fastest growing
Is it really?
vacation that there is out there. Their growth is amazing. I think I'm not going to pull the number out, but let's just say this. There's a lot of people that love cruises. Alaska is always the number one spot, so it sells out quick. I've been there. So if you're going to go to Alaska, you need to book now.
Yes.
Or you won't be going this year. And then the hot spots, Nashville, Atlanta, and then the Caribbean.
See, I went to Alaska back in 2014.
Yeah.
And we were in, Glacier Bay?
Yeah.
And they do that, and the cruise ship does that kind of circle thing.
Yeah.
I went up to the top, and at the top they had a basketball court, and netting over it. So I've got me shooting basketball with the Glacier Bay in the background.
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
It is awesome.
I love cruising. My family loves cruising, and we did an Alaskan cruise on Disney, and it was so beautiful.
Man, I got hammered every night, too, buddy. I mean, that's another part about it that was great. I'm just glad I stayed on the boat.
Yeah.
So we went to where we started in Anchorage and then went out to Haines, got on the boat, Ketchikan, Juneau, Glacier Bay, all the way down to Vancouver. It was outstanding.
Yeah.
It really
Sitka. There was so many nice little ports in Alaska.
I would do that. I would absolutely do that again. And then I've been on one that's gone to Cancun and Belize and Cozumel and then back here, which was also
that's our preferred.
Good. When are we going to give away a trip? You guys got a trip to give away? You can do that, can't you? Aren't you the vice president?
The vice president.
Are you the president?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the president. Did I say vice president?
Yeah, we could figure something out.
Is Godbout the vice president?
Godbout is the vice president.
All right, he is the vice president.
Yeah.
You're the president.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the prez?
Yeah.
You make
Big
all
president.
the decisions?
Hard to believe.
Brittany, I don't know about you. I think the president could make a decision to give away a trip right now if the president wanted to.
I think we give away a number of trips. We just flew. I think she was from Columbus, Indiana. We flew her out to see
Sting.
Sting. Yeah.
Really?
It was a trip of a lifetime. We do IU trips to away games. We do a lot of trips. We do a lot of trips.
Got to give away a trip sometime.
Yeah. Okay.
Got to
All
pay
right.
attention.
Can we do that, Brittany? What do you think?
Well, there's another flyaway concert that we should promote.
How about a trip with me? How about I go on a trip and then I'll go with the winner?
You're going to host it?
Yes, I'll host the trip.
I tell you what, travel with JMV.
That's what I did to Alaska. I hosted the trip.
You know, something that a lot of people ask about is these clubs have these trips with the president. And
Yeah.
I guess people love to do those.
Yes.
I think it's trips with JMV.
How about that trips with me?
Do you think we could at least sell 3?
And the Prez and Brittany can go too. And even the vice president can go.
So I could serve you, walk
Even
around
Godbout
behind
can
you
go.
and all.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least 5 people will join.
I've been out with you enough. There's enough fandom.
And
I
I'll
can't
mention
deal with it.
I'll mention open bar on that too.
Yeah, no, open coffee bar. Open coffee bar.
All the caffeine.
Open coffee bar.
Open coffee bar is what we have. All right. We've got stuff to give away right here.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this before. I think we were up on the north side. We were at where were we? Wolfie's on where were we? We weren't on Guys. Morse. Thank you, Brittany. We were on Morse. Wolfie's on Morse during the summer. And you gave away a set of 4 tires, and I thought everybody was going nuts.
Well, what was great?
Seriously, going crazy right in front of us.
You draw such a crowd, and everyone's a AAA member, and if you're not, you should be. And it was like whoever shows their AAA card first and comes up here, and next thing you know, we had a mad rush at the table. So, yeah.
That was awesome. So now here's what we want to give away. So, James, get ready. 239-1070, number 9, and this is what we love to do with all of our partners and all of our friends is give away stuff. And AAA, we have this package to give away right now. What is it, man?
We're going to do the 4 front row seats to the Indians home opener.
April 1st.
April 1st. Yeah, they're the best seats in the house.
4 right now.
We love our Indianapolis Indians, and we're proud partners.
So we got 4 tickets for one winner right now.
One winner right now.
Do it right now.
Do it right now.
All right.
Call
239-1070. Number 9 is going to win those Indians tickets. And, James will get that for you, by the way, right now. Do we have more to give away, too?
We do. We do.
Still have more to give away. In fact, not only do we have more to give away with AAA, I have some concert tickets to give away for you as well. I did want to remind you of this because Kristen Airy is listening, the voice of the Pacers. You get the Pacers and the Clippers later on tonight. He wanted to make sure that I let you know when I mentioned that game on Saturday with the Lakers is flexed by ESPN, it is also on FanDuel, which is, of course, Pacers TV, and you can see it on Channel 13 on Saturday, too. And you know me, I'm always going with local. I'm going with Chris, and I know you're going with Quinn. Chris and Quinn and JJ and Eddie Gill have that for you coming up on Saturday afternoon from L.A. with the, again, Luka debut is the expectation, and the Pacers and the Lakers. Channel 13 and normal Pacers TV on FanDuel coming up on Saturday as well. And are you going down to IU Michigan on Saturday?
Yep.
Do you have like courtside seats?
We have really good seats.
Really good seats.
I've been a season ticket holder since 2007.
Did you go to IU?
I didn't. My wife did.
You did.
I'm just a lifelong
Michelle.
fan. Michelle.
I like Michelle. Michelle was awesome.
Yeah.
I think you outkicked your coverage
I
with
did.
Michelle.
I outkicked my coverage.
How'd that happen?
And she's the fun
Guys
one.
from Jennings County don't normally come up that big in that category right there.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
Yeah.
Because she's from Columbus, right?
Persistence.
Is she from Columbus?
She is.
North or east?
She went to North.
Oh, man. See?
Yeah.
Jennings County and Columbus North, that normally doesn't work out that way.
Your
does it?
memory is so
normally
good.
Jennings County and Austin or Jennings County and Caruthersville. What happened there?
I just cannot tell you anything.
I'm going to let everybody know it all, man, right there. All right, quick one. We'll come back. We have more to give away with AAA, with Matt, and with Brittany coming up in a minute. And then I'm going to give you Love Fest. Love Fest is going to be a celebration of some slow jam classics. And I've got that for you coming up on the other side. And I want to thank, again, DJ Gino for putting this together. Love Fest is at Clues on the 22nd. That's on a Saturday night at 7:30. It features Jeffrey Osborne. and After 7, and Kevon Edmonds and the Indianapolis guys of After 7 have a bunch of hits, but this is all like very much Mike Well slow jam re-entry material right here. I've got your chance to win that when you hear a slow jam re-entry from After 7. Hint could be coming up. Love Fest coming up at Clues. We got tickets for you. And then Matt and Brittany, another opportunity for you win from AAA, live from Tom's Watch Bar. We are downtown. James Wiseman, and you're getting back a little bit of cash and a conditional second rounder. That's the work that the Pacers did prior to the NBA trade deadline, which was a lot going on. The Pacers just not a part of it. Chad Buchanan, the general manager, joined me on the show. He joins me coming up tomorrow. And Carson Steele of the Kansas City Chiefs from CG also on the show coming up tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Stuff to win. Tom's Watch Bar, downtown, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You ever been in a Turkish prison?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, crank this up for me, James. I got to get Kevon on the show one of these days. Can anybody do that? Kevon Edmonds, of course, the Edmonds family, of course, Kenny is babyface. This is After 7. My good friend DJ Gino Shelton has put together at Clues Hall coming up on the 22nd. Let me tell you this, fellas. If you take your significant other to this show and you can't close the deal afterwards, then that's on you, all right? Because After 7, John B., Jeffrey Osborne, they will set the table for you right here for the Love Fest at Clues Memorial Hall, number 9 at 239-1070 is going to go. Check out the Love Fest. You've got Ready or Not, Heat of the Moment, Can't Stop from After 7. Indy's own, by the way. If anybody can work out Kevon getting on this show, I'd love it, by the way, too. So let me know if somebody can work that out here locally. I'm sure Gino probably can, too. But Jeffrey Osborne, the Woo Woo song, you guys remember that? Maybe we'll play that in coming up tomorrow. But Clues Hall, February the 22nd, got a pair of tickets for you at 239-1070. Number 9 is going to be a winner. Tom's Watch Bar, we're downtown. It's been a busy show for you. We have talked Pacer trade deadline. Really nothing there to speak of other than James Wiseman and getting back some money, opening up a roster spot, and maybe in the buyout market. Pacers tried to do something there. Yeah, nothing much going on. That was with, by the way, the Toronto Raptors. Chad Buchanan joins us tomorrow. We'll talk about their thoughts and moving forward, and I'm sure probably recap Pacers and the Clippers coming up tonight. That's a 10:30 tip time. 10 o'clock coverage begins here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Now, I will say that the Bucks, the Cavaliers, and the Pistons all did some pre-trade deadline work. Jimmy Butler to Golden State, the Heat in the process, taking on some new players, some new bodies. Kevin Durant stays with the Suns. Maybe the biggest deal today, DeAndre Hunter ends up going from the Hawks to the Cavaliers. The Pistons doing some work. We saw yesterday Chris Middleton to the Wizards and Kyle Kuzma going to the Bucks. So interesting, to say the least, how some teams decided to retool. Of local interest, Jake LaRavia, who went to Lawrence Central, Indiana State, and Wake Forest. He was in Memphis. He gets traded to the Sacramento Kings. And the Kings also, I should say, the Grizzlies also trading away Marcus Smart a little bit earlier today. So, yeah, there was a flurry of names. And, again, the Pacers just getting some cash in return for one James Wiseman and a conditional second-rounder. And Chad Buchanan, the general manager, joins us on the show coming up tomorrow. Again, Tom's Watch Bar downtown, busy show today. Brittany and Matt rejoin us from AAA. We gave away 4 Indians tickets for opening day, front row seats. What else do we have to give away here, buddy?
Time to celebrate pothole season.
Got? Oh, my goodness. People are going to love it.
I think everybody loves tires. You know, our new mobile service, the mobile tire change, My Pit Crew, donating 4 tires so we can give them away. The great thing about My Pit Crew, they can come to your house, come to your office, come to the side of the road. They have a full tire change operation in the van. It's all battery powered. You don't even know they're out there. It is an amazing experience. And what most people don't realize, and I feel sorry for Chapel for, they probably overpay for tires.
They do, buddy.
If you're a member, you get 10% off your tires.
Yes.
Installation discounts. Just another good reason to be a member.
I'll tell you what, if I ever am on, I need tires again, you guys just come to my driveway.
Exactly.
I mean, no doubt about that.
We'll order the
get
tires,
easier.
ship them to you, show up in your driveway.
Can you guys do skidder tires from heavy equipment?
You're
I don't know.
Way out over my skis right there.
You do tractor tires?
I'm sure I can order anything you need.
I'm just thinking, I like to make fun of you because you're from Jennings County.
Yeah, no, I
do tractor tires.
I caught on.
You ever changed a tractor tire?
No, but I have driven a tractor.
You know, once upon a time, I had to change a skidder tire, which is heavy equipment, and you literally have to get inside it to change it. You have to get inside the tire, inside the rim.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You ever change a split rim tire? Ooh.
No.
That's no fun at all.
No.
That's scary. You got to put it in a cage.
What?
Because, the inner tube on the inside could pop.
I watch these YouTube videos where people catch their tires on fire and they just pop open.
Yeah.
We don't do that either.
Well, I used to change tractor tires that had an inner tube on the inside, and you were kind of afraid that maybe it would explode. The rim would explode, the split rim.
Oh.
So you always put it inside a cage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Safety first.
You had no idea how big of a hillbilly I was until just now, did you?
I'm pretty amazed you still have 10 fingers.
I know. I kept them all right there.
Yeah.
Every last finger to it, by the way.
Yeah, the challenge that we face all the time, we show up on the side of the road, on the side of 465, we're changing someone's tire. We were recently reminded we had an issue with one of our drivers. He's changing the tire, and a vehicle hit us on the side of the road. And it's dangerous, and what I tell people is $96 a year. We'll show up and do that for you. So give that responsibility to us.
Number 9, by the way, at
Number
239-1070. Hey, Pete Thamel saying Mike Woodson discussions with IU stepping away at the end of the season. Like I said a little bit earlier, not before the end of the season, but in retirement at the end of the year. So we'll follow that story tomorrow. Matt, Brittany, you guys have been awesome.
Thanks
for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been
We're
great.
gonna do it again,
Thank you.
okay?
Okay.
Matt and Brittany from AAA, you guys have been awesome too, Carl. Great job. Ethan and Kevin James back at the studio, our guests today. We'll have you covered tomorrow. Chad Buchanan, Carson Steele of the Chiefs, Tom's Watch Bar, everybody. Awesome night. Thank you very much. Back with you in studio tomorrow at 3. Have a great night.